It's hard to speak of a racial divide in Boston without also mentioning the economic divide. Both have been getting attention from the interfaith organization called A Faith That Does Justice. To tell us about the forum on the city's economic divide taking place on May 15th is the group's founder and director, Father Peter Gyves. Thank you very much for being with us, Father.
Thank you very much for having me.
First of all, this is a forum. It's really one in a series of forums. You've talked about the racial divide before. What made people want to take this on?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, but I think that we recognize that there's a great disparity in income and lost opportunity as a result of it in Boston and other cities as well. And we have access in Boston to getting some very good speakers. So we talked with Mary Jo Bain, who's a Harvard Kennedy School of Government professor, who has a special interest in poverty, and John Barrows from the mayor's office, Chief of Economic Development. Really both have some expertise in this area. And we thought we'd explore it with people of goodwill and see where it goes from there.
Well, one thing I was a little surprised by, after all we've heard about the economic recovery here, the boom and all the new construction, there was a figure the Boston Foundation came out with last fall saying that the poverty level is no lower than it was before the last recession.
Yeah, well, what we're hearing too is probably very similar, that this economic recovery does not hit all people, that there are people at the upper end who have done very well, and there are people being left behind still. So I think that's another reason why we're having the talk, to hear a little bit more about this and to see if we can raise consciousness in Boston about what's really going on.
Well, one of the other startling figures here is about the wealth divide. Most of us are not wealthy, but a lot of us have at least a little wealth. But there's a real racial split in that too, isn't there? Exactly.
And as you may remember, a year and a half ago now, the Boston Spotlight Globe team really brought this issue up when they talked about the median net worth of an African-American male in Boston is $8, whereas the median net worth of a white male in Boston is $250,000. So there's a tremendous disparity that's hard to believe is true, but apparently it is. And again, I think we'll hear more a little bit about some of the factors that may be contributing to that.
The numbers are very different on paper. What's that like in real life? Let's say you're in a family, somebody gets ill, there's a big expense. I mean, that can make a catastrophe.
Yeah. You know, we're going to have an experiential speaker, we call it, someone who's going to come in after the talk by the panel and really talk about her personal experience. And she speaks of being married with a family of 3 children, husband, and lost her husband. And it put her under economically, where she really had trouble. And the trap that so many people fall into is they make enough money in a part-time job that excludes them from a lot of the benefits that the city will offer or the state will offer. And she ran this treadmill of being in and out of assistance from the city and state as she found different types of jobs.
One of the panelists is going to be John Barrows. He's the top aide to Mayor Walsh on economic development. City's taken a little heat about contracting here too, but I guess he's going to bring something to the table in this discussion.
Well, we think he will, and that's why he was asked. Apparently, Mary Jo Bain, I know, speaks very highly of him, that he has tremendous data related to the city, and we will hear more about that. And I think, too, perhaps some of the questions that will come will be asking him about what is it from the mayor's office that may be in the works or is being planned to help some of the people who are really having trouble making ends meet.
You're also having a panelist from Catholic Charities in this event as well.
Absolutely. Debbie Rambo, who is soon retiring, but after about 40 years at Catholic Charities. Debbie Rambo has tremendous experience in the city of Boston, in the neighborhoods themselves, knowing what areas have been affected more so than others. And Debbie, I think, will share her experiential input into recent years in Boston.
Why do people keep coming to these forums? Because you said there's been some sort of a continuity. What makes them hang in there?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, part of what goes on with us, we're a faith-based organization trying to offer a rationale to live faith in the year 2019 that is more than going to the church, the synagogue, or the mosque. It really is talking about living the values that you profess in society on behalf of people who are not as well off as many of us are, and to see if we can galvanize that kind of religious belief or religious fervor into action on behalf of those in need.
We should mention just before we close here, the details on when the next forum's taking place and how people can follow up for more details?
Yes. This meeting will be taking place this Wednesday, May 15th, 6:15 at the downtown Boston Marriott Hotel, 275 Tremont Street. It is open to all people, and we really invite the city of Boston to come in and join us for an evening that should be very mind-elevating, consciousness-raising about the issue of poverty and economic inequality.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
Father Peter Gyves from A Faith That Does Justice.